Whee!
Well, the stream was live, but no one could hear us or see us. Now 2 people can hear us and see us. I hope.
So, whose
You
name do you
guys?
share?
The person who has my same first and last name. Yeah, Jamie.
Okay, let me rephrase my answer so as to get a legit answer. Question: what character?
I don't remember. It was like they were on like two episodes, maybe even just one episode. And that might have even been the name of the character. I don't remember.
So he wasn't even like a main character. He was like a red shirt.
Right. It was.
Okay.
No, please minimize away.
Guy is amazing on the spoof. Jeez, Galaxy Quest. It's gonna be one of those nights where the brain's not functioning. I had a migraine again yesterday. It just
Oh no.
blasts my brains for a day or so. I'm rebooting all day.
Yeah. I do note that as of about 5 years ago, I'm now on the front page of people when I Google my name. A few years ago, I was on second page, about halfway down, but now I'm second on the first page. Oh yeah.
Nice.
I think I'm happy that you can't find me when you Google me. I'd prefer that kind of footstep on social knowledge. With the same exact name? Oh. Okay. So if you're the grandson, they all have the same name, you're a junior or a third or whatever. So what is it when your cousins all have the same name? Is there a term for that? Okay.
It's like 1.1, 1.2.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm thinking. Like a shift over, junior once removed. There you go. That's cool.
Hold on. I think we lost.
Hello, coward.
Can't hear one of us. Which one of us?
If it's Heath, I can tell you why.
Coward, which one of us can you not hear?
Well, I don't see Mike. I don't see Mike on Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's my fault. I was trying because you were frozen. You were frozen, but now, yes, coward, yes, now. This is Jamie. That's Rachel.
Matt. So we all four said her name. Who did you not hear? I don't see the labels.
Why is it not coming back?
Did not hear Mike. Okay, that makes sense because his.
Nobody can see your Muppet walking.
Oh no.
Hampshire dance is a trance, so do the mic. Bow chicka, bow chicka.
Hold on. Why is this not working?
We are having difficulties. Yeah. Unplug yourself and flip over and plug yourself back in.
Oh my.
Oh my.
I can. Mike, are you talking? No. You have been.
You just did.
Okay.
Okay. Just in case you weren't hearing him.
Why is this not? I have a headache. All right, let me try this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. No,
Would turning the filters off affect this? Is that what's?
probably not. Mike, can you leave and rejoin? Yes, please.
I am the only person in Twitch. Shocking.
I thought Cowart was here.
Coward's here.
Oh, maybe it's just a slow number then, because it's just showing one person logged in. I know I am, so it's got to be me. There was a cool game on that TV show called Evil. I heard Mike at all tonight. Then he disappeared, and I was like, maybe he didn't say anything. It's a me. No, we could hear him, but apparently he's not coming through OBS, possibly onto Twitch. So we will work that out. Right now he is restarting his computer.
Is he?
I'm talking to Cowart, by the
Okay.
way.
Can you guys see Mike?
Nope, he's completely. He said he was going to restart.
Oh.
Oh, but it says not visible, so I don't know what he's doing.
Well, wait. I thought it looked like he had reconnected, but
He might be able to hear us. We can't see him yet. So there was a game they played on the show. I forgot the name of it. It's like Silent Assassin or something like that. And the whole game, all you're doing is you've got a table of people and you've got some sort of activity. It doesn't matter what it is. It's not really the point. It's just something to do. But one person at the table is the assassin, right? And you randomly decide you draw a card and you randomly decide who is the assassin. And if that person winks at you, you're dead. And you have to wait like 5 seconds and then sit back and go, okay, I'm dead. And the only way to take out the assassin is for the last person either to call him out on it or catch them winking. And it was really neat on the show because they're all just sitting around talking, and like one of the characters is like laughing, like ha ha ha, I'm dead, and just sits back, and everybody's like, what? Everybody's kind of freaking out. It's kind of neat.
And
Cowart Heath had to take a leave of absence for work, and it's going to be longer than just a couple of weeks. So he's going to step away until all that gets settled. It might be months. It might be just a month or two. But it was longer than long enough that we could only just take a few days off. So whenever he gets sorted out, he'll come back.
I miss already.
No. He was thinking when he got a promotion, and he was thinking it was just going to be, like just like normal, how it's been, like traveling once a month, just for a couple of days, and like the onboarding training has been 2 weeks at a time, and then a day or three back, and then gone for a long weekend, and then back, and then gone for 2 weeks. Like it's just a lot coming in the next couple of months, and he just, he was trying to figure out a way to work it out, but it'd have been too hard for him to do this and keep his number one priority up.
yeah.
Can't believe we were his number one priority.
Well, number one on a different priority list.
Got to make that dollar.
Yeah.
Official.
Yeah. Maybe he can do a Twitch sub, right? Now that he's got that extra, the extra dollar.
He's making all that cash.
That's funny. I
discovered that I have the complete works. I think I mentioned this before, but I never looked at the page count. The complete works of Cthulhu. God, great! I'm gonna have one of those nights where I can't think of anything. the author of Call of Cthulhu.
Okay.
And his name is anyway,
I don't
his
know.
complete works, and it's like 33,000 pages long.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Have you
And
read
I've also
any of
got
it?
I've read like the first short story, which is like 20 pages.
It's not a very
um,
short story.
Lovecraft.
20 pages? That's a very short story. That's like a chapter. Lovecraft, thank you, H.P. Lovecraft. But I've also got like the top 100 books you need to read before you die, and it's in this 2-volume set. And it's all on Kindle, and each volume is around 30,000 pages, so it's like 60,000 pages. So I've got a little bit of reading.
My God.
Yeah.
A little.
Have you read any of those?
No, I'm starting with H.P. Lovecraft. I just literally started today. It's the first short story was Alchemist's Life or Wife, or what was it? It is just The Alchemist.
Just The Alchemist.
Yeah, short story.
Okay. All right.
Coward, I'm glad you joined us to just listen to us not talk very much.
Well, I mean,
I'm sleepy today.
yeah.
You are?
Yeah, I drove in from Asheville today. I was there for the weekend.
That's cool. To go to the breweries?
Yeah, it was really fun. Actually,
Huh?
didn't. I have a friend that lives there, and she kind of set up like it's like a women's retreat weekend. So we really spent a lot of time at her house. But we'd go out for a couple of meals, so it was fun.
I hear that's one of the nicer things about Asheville is all the breweries and fooderies and eateries and all those things. Good place to go for a long weekend to
Yeah.
just check things out.
Hmm.
Is that where Biltmore is? That's where Biltmore is.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I haven't been
Mhm.
there in years and years.
Yeah, I haven't been in a long time either. The last time I went was at Christmas time, and it was awesome. It had a Christmas tree in every room.
My one of my cousins got married there. His current wife, his fiance, her parents are like oil tycoons. So they
I
rented
was about to
the
say that's
Biltmore
like
for a
money,
day.
money.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
They
crazy.
rented the Biltmore for the day, and I don't mean like a piece of the Biltmore, like the entire, maybe not the entire grounds. Like it wasn't all the way up to the winery, but the mansion itself and the grounds around it, and just enormous area. It's gorgeous. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, those flower arrangements cost
Paying
more
for
than my education, so it's kind of gross. But it was memorable.
Yeah, I've been to the Biltmore maybe twice when I was much younger. It's lovely, but I didn't even think that they would do something like that there, like a wedding or something like that. But
Anybody will do anything if you show them enough dollars.
yeah,
I was
that's
gonna say.
true.
I was
That
gonna
is
say everything's for
fact.
sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, they apparently do that. They will rent it out for a weekend or a day for special events like that if
Yeah.
you're willing to pay the money.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? we went to a birthday party at and this is nowhere near what you're talking about, but we went to a birthday party for an 8-year-old, and they had rented out the entire trampoline park. And I was like, oh, that seems costly, and I started kind of futzing around with the web page, and I was like, oh, that is costly. For 2 hours.
Little known fact, it used to be called the Jumpaline till the 60s.
Uh-huh.
Y'all never heard that joke?
Uh-huh.
Till somebody saw your mom jumping on one?
There it is. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no. Come on.
Well, I wasn't going to finish it. I figured y'all had heard it. So I was,
No.
Yep. We
Sometimes
had a one of those, what are they, 10 feet, 12 feet, circular trampolines growing up. And it's funny because I grew up on a farm, and when they built the house, they kind of dug into the hill to pull out the dirt for a basement. And in the area where they dug out the basement, they pulled out this rock that was the size of a, I don't know, a small pickup truck. Just if you just pulled the wheels and the suspension off and just laid it on the ground, it was the size of like a a Chevy S10, in length and width. And they just pushed it over to the side of the property, and at some point we looked at it and said, "Oh, it looks like an alligator." So from that point on, it was the alligator rock. And so our trampoline was next to the alligator rock, and
Oh no.
well, we didn't ever have any trampoline to rock issues, but
good.
we would rock to trampoline fairly often.
Coward just said he broke his front tooth on the trampoline. Growing up, there was a kid in the neighborhood. They had one of the bigger areas. Like we lived in like an enclosed neighborhood. There was only one way in, one way out. It was just cookie cutter houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's this one space in the central area of it that there was just no houses, right? So it's just this long. It was perfect for sledding. It was great for when it snowed and whatnot. But I'm married to a dentist. Well, that's great. He had a trampoline, and one time he tried to pull a gainer, which is flipping forward while rotating backwards, right? Like moving, kind of like that, off of the trampoline, and broke his femur. That's the big bone, folks. That thing's hard to break. You got to put some weight on it. And he was a big guy. He was almost my size. I mean, this was like high school, but still big guys. Yeah, he snapped his femur. He was laid up. He was out of school for months. I don't think I've actually been on a trampoline since.
You think?
That's a very good possibility. That was pretty horrifying. So when Coward says he broke his tooth on a trampoline, that's kind of like one of my nightmares, like some sort of weird injury, from jumping on a trampoline. Slashed your lip. Cap on the bottom. Yeah. Veneers are nice. I'm going to get veneers. My front too. Whenever I get the braces off. Part of the long con.
Can you guys hear us? or can you guys hear Mike?
I cannot hear Mike or see him.
Can you hear him? Rachel?
No.
Okay. He says he can hear us and see us. And Cowart says no as well. Yeah, I don't see him on the feed, so I didn't think anybody else could hear him.
No mic.
Okay.
He's contacting us on
that upside down Australian internet.
It's that backwards inverted internet. Is the mic on? Have we tried plugging the mic in?
Yeah, I'm plugging the mic. Mic is there. Like I can see him connected to Video Ninja, but it is not connecting to. I don't see any audio in OBS, and obviously I don't see any video in OBS.
Yeah.
So no bueno. He has restarted his laptop and his router.
It's probably all the spiders.
Internet says no.
Oh.
There's probably got a computer full of spiders.
Yes, probably that. Mike, I'm going to send you something. Sending you something. Mike says, tell Cowart to stop trying to eat trampolines.
Can you hear him?
No, I'm talking to him on Discord. We're trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay.
So the worst thing, well, not the worst thing, but I have one distinct memory of jumping on a trampoline. My younger brother, I was going to say my little brother, but he's actually just a hair taller than me now. But he's very, very thin. He's built like an endurance runner. Like he could.
Is he an endurance runner?
He's built like an endurance runner, but no.
But
He's
I mean, is he a runner? Does he
no,
run?
no, he
That's-
doesn't run at all. As far
That's
as I
where it
know.
ends.
Yeah,
Only when chased.
only when chased. It's like he only smokes when he's on fire. Actually, he smokes ribs every now and then when we go visit, which is very nice. But anyway, he. So when I was in high school, to give you an idea of our size difference, when I was in high school, I could take my thumb and middle finger and put them around his bicep.
Holy crap!
Yeah, he was very, very, very skinny.
Wow.
But he's still very lean now. But
I can't
he's
do
all
that
muscle.
around my wrist.
yeah. He's fully muscle and bone, and that's it.
Yeah.
But we were bouncing, and you know the double jump, the thing where you land just as someone's landing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I like to do that to him because he would go very high into to the sky. We called it skying someone because, well, he would be fully feet above my head when I would do it, and it was fun for me because I wasn't going that high in the air.
Nope.
Well, one time I miscalculated, and he had jumped close to the edge, and so I double jumped him when he was at the very edge of the trampoline, which launched him instead of vertically, it launched him horizontally
Off the trampoline.
off the trampoline, and he kind of like, you know, cartwheeled in midair, and one of his legs went into the springs. And he just kind of ragdolled off, and he was, you know, hanging upside down.
Yep. You're just describing nightmare after nightmare.
Nightmare after nightmare.
I would try a trampoline again if I went to one of those trampoline houses where it's just literally a wall-to-wall trampoline, and in between is just nothing but cushions, right? So there's no. Worst you're gonna do is break your neck because you do an incomplete flip. But even then, I don't know. I don't feel that urge, the need to go jump on a trampoline. I'd have made a terrible gymnast. I'm way too big to be a gymnast. Like, even like skinny, like thin, lean Matt, I'm still 240 pounds and 6'5", so it's like the worst gymnast ever. You know, but like those guys can move like that because they weigh $105 and they can bench press 800 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason they can move like that. They're just, I mean, look at their legs and their shoulders, especially those ring guys. Like, they're just walking wise. You know, their back is. Those guys are incredible.
I've never been built for anything besides, like, you know, football and lifting things. So I think I'm gonna try remaking the room, maybe.
Okay.
And redoing the room. I'm gonna create a new room. And I'm gonna add.
Stand by, folks.
Send you guys a new link.
Yep, we got it. Go ahead and do it.
Let me make sure I've got what I need. I'm disabling a couple things, so. All right, and drop it here.
I'm kicking out of this link. Then I'm dropping down.
There we go.
We'll be back, folks. Coward.
So, Cowart, how are you doing? How's the weather there? Hopefully it's warmer than it is here. 3 days ago, I think it was in the 60s. And then now, it's in, also cold. Oh yeah. It was in the, it was in the 30s, the low 30s earlier this week and yesterday. Well, the old link, hold on, Matt, let me get you added to the Okay.
Forgot to deploy the old link in the southern hemisphere. That's what it is.
Get you added back to the thing here. Okay, I think that's 2. Whenever Rachel connects, that'll be all of us. Stand by. Yeah, Coward, you had your AC on last week. We didn't have our AC on, but it was comfortable. Like one and a half days last week. We went to an amusement park, and yeah, then it froze immediately after that.
Yeah,
Right.
it dropped down to like below freezing here. I mean, it turned spring in 3 hours, right? I mean, it's crazy. But I remember growing up, it was first or second week in April. We had a blizzard, and we were out of school for a week. So, Houston C's weird. It's weird.
Weird.
Yep.
All right, I think
So,
we're back.
We're all here.
Is it?
Yay.
Is it wicked weird?
It was very strange. It was great. We missed a week of school. I was like 5th, 6th grade. It's a long time ago. Many.
It's less fun when you
missed
have kids
something.
and they're missing school.
Yeah, I imagine so.
And you work remotely, so you still have to go to work.
Mhm, mhm.
All right.
All right,
we're
so
good.
vamping is let's just get right to it. We had some technical difficulties. Coward, thanks for hanging out and waiting on us. I will be editing this out of the podcast, so the first 30 minutes won't show up on the podcast. I'll cut all this right
To
out.
say, live listener exclusive.
Yeah, exactly. You got to hear us talking about trampolines.
But you know where you might be able to see it? YouTube. So
That's true. Don't really
subscribe to
want
the
to cut
YouTube
that out.
channel.
You can at least fast
Alright,
forward that. Oh, do you have a special flying over Perth, but you think you're going to Sydney story about signing up for our YouTube? That was
No, the only
fantastic.
the only thing that I was going to say is I've been catching up on Glass Cannon podcast live because I've been having trouble with my left ear. I've been losing hearing in my left ear on and off. I still don't know why. We're looking into that. But one of the benefits of watching a podcast on YouTube is that you get closed captioning. So you can turn the subtitles on.
Yep.
So if you want to get closed captioning for our videos, then you should subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Nice. And you can fast forward to the first 28 minutes of technical
But you
difficulties.
shouldn't. Enjoy them. Slow them down.
Yes.
Watch them at half speed.
Well, technical difficulties. So, Coward did ask why we were doing our technical stuff. Heath will be out. I'll just reiterate this one more time because he wasn't here last week. He's not here this week. We're not sure how long he's going to be gone. Just had some work stuff come up, and it might be months. So we're going to continue on, and Khaldun will make it back as soon as Khaldun is done researching where Boxy might be found inside the Blue Crater Academy. That's his job right now, tracking him down. So last week we did our vignettes. Had a little information about Farazan. He's changing from a dumb old rune knight to a really smart eldritch knight during his downtime. So he's taken the circlet that Khaldun's no longer using, and he's put it on. And because it's the way the story happened, it made him go derp for an hour rather than just do a short rest. Because time is whimy, and it didn't work out story-wise for him to be available. Alma, she did some really the big thing. She kicked in some research trying to figure out what's going on with all these rituals, specifically this dwarven ritual, and the gist was they're full of crap. It doesn't exist. I mean, if it exists to the point to where they know about it and multiple people know about it, she and Jenya together would have found it out, would have seen it somewhere in the literature in the church, nowhere to be found. And then Tarathiel, he just kind of hung out and waited in front of the door and did nothing really happened with him.
Nothing bad happened.
So is there anything you would like to say about that happening last week, or do you want to keep that on close to your chest still, about who that was talking about? Either way is cool with me.
No, we can go into it. Do we want to go into it in character? I don't know where you're planning to kick off this week. So
Well, so the vignette's done, and we're talking. It's been probably 2 months was where we're picking up. So you've had some time to do some things, time to do some research and looking around. Farazan's needed the time to train and retrain the new class, which I gave a monetary cost. I figure 500 gold would be enough for a retraining from an archetype or a subtype to another one. So if you will deduct 500 gold from your funds, that will cover the cost of retraining it to an Eldritch Knight, which, funnily enough, is pretty much training with Khaldun, and that just means he's greedy. So,
So just add it to the party funds. That's what you're saying.
sure, yeah, right. You have had 2 months. Was there anything anybody wanted to do during those 2 months? Farazan, you are almost daily busy, so beyond just what you're doing, it might be a little tough to get anything done.
Yeah.
Alma and Tarathiel, I mean, we did your vignettes. If there's nothing else that's cool, we can kind of skip to it. But I imagine Tarathiel had some things on his mind over the last couple of months.
yeah, I think he's probably before he was trying to dismantle the Last Laugh as a slow and careful enterprise, and I would suspect that he's gotten a little more reckless in his attempts to try and get information, out of people that are members of the Last Laugh, if at all possible. Might have tried to kidnap some lower level people and question them, and probably found out that they don't really know anything.
So you could get some thugs off the street, but what you find out really quickly is how compartmentalized the Last Laugh is. Almost like little minor small cells within the large cell of Cauldron, right? So you'll have a group that are over the top quarter of Cauldron, who they answer to one person, but everybody that you've talked to, or however you coerced or convinced them to talk, nobody was really willing or wanting to talk. And you do kind of put together the whole finger thing. That was in order to have a piece to be scried upon. That's why he takes these fingers, because he is able to have like Alma, when you looked at the scry spell, your save versus scrying, if they have a piece of your body, is like -10. So that's something you discovered in the last couple of months. Everybody's missing something. He just takes pieces of you so he can keep an eye on you. You've heard his name. It was mentioned earlier. It was mentioned by artist Shimwick long time ago. He mentioned the name of the leader of the Last Laugh. Anybody happen to remember what his name was? It's been forever ago.
Smart Farazan would remember, but Jamie doesn't.
So, and it's probably, Mike, is probably in your mode. This was like 40 episodes ago. The leader of the Cauldron Last Laugh goes by the name Velior Thazo. Thazo. Velior Thazo. But this person who's being referred to as Velior is also the person that Jill was referring to. And that doesn't quite connect with what you know about who supposedly Jill's talking about. And over the 2 months that you've been looking, it's become more and more and more difficult, almost impossible towards the last of the second month, to get anything out of anybody. Like, you just are not finding anybody. Some of them are just showing up dead, especially ones that have talked to you and given you information. They just disappear. And some of them just stop talking. If they see you, they walk the other way. That kind of thing. They've seen the lesson learned by others, and they don't want to learn that same lesson. And you get to that point where anytime you ask somebody, they just flat out, without even, no hesitation, you're not going to kill me. He will. I'm not talking to you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the gist. But that's 6 weeks into, you just terrorizing the terrible people of Cauldron.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you were specifically looking for? You hear nothing else about Megan. You hear nothing else. You don't see Jill. You don't see her at all in the time that's passed in the last 2 months.
Wow. I don't see anybody I recognize as Jill. She could be anyone.
True. That's very true. You know she wears the cap. The
Hat of disguise, yep.
Yep. And she obviously has the same kind of hood that you have. She's got a cloak of Elvenkind, so not only is she impossible to tell who she is, but she hides in shadows almost as good as you do.
That's super annoying.
Yeah.
All right,
How
I
do
got
you like
nothing
it?
else.
Yeah, right.
I don't like it.
I don't. So, is there something that I didn't mention that you would have wanted to look into or ask or gain more information about? If there is, I
No,
absolutely
I don't think
we'd
so.
talk about it and figure out what they would have said. But
Well, the only other thing that I had planned to have going on would be out of Drathiel's head at this point. So
out of his head.
he's not thinking about anything else other than finding his daughter
Okay.
at this point.
All right. So super focused. One would say almost obsessed at this point.
If an elf was capable of being having stubble, then he would definitely have the 5 o'clock shadow every day.
It's just wispy, like you have one Charlie Brown. All right. In that case, Alma, was there anything else that you wanted to do in the next?
Well, I was gonna say I don't know what Tarathiel shared with anybody because he only really had that experience with Khaldun. But if I were to know anything about it, I would obviously employ whatever I could do to help. If you can think of anything that I can magically do that you can't.
So it's odd, and maybe it's not odd, but of the members of this group, the people of Cauldron find you to be the most terrifying, the most vicious. I don't mean vicious, but like when they're thinking of like who is just truly like dangerous among the heroes of Cauldron, it's always Alma. Everybody's like, she wields the power and she blows holes in Umber Hulks and like all these stories, and none of the stories that you hear take into account the fact that Farazan is a Ginsu with a baseball bat, or Khaldun nukes people from 1,000 yards away. They witnessed you summon this holy wrath in the middle of the street that started to melt, and then you blew a hole into a gigantic Umber Hulk beetle in the middle of the street. So your name is like the big name that comes up when they're talking about the people, when they're talking about the 4 of you and the heroes of Cauldron.
Yep, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like that's not a good reputation to have. Like, that's not good.
Nothing more dangerous than Beori's love. That's
I guess not.
That's the going statement right now.
And I have to work on some
Terrifying.
good PR.
Well, I mean, there's some people calling you like Alma's Avengers and
Oh,
Beori's
no.
Bashers and
No, they're not.
that kind of thing. Yeah, they're coming up with their own name.
God.
Like they don't know what to call you guys. So they're
I don't know about Beori's bashes.
You see these names coming up, coming up all over the place, just in rumor. And when people see you in the street, they are just like Alma, and they're a mixture of like excitement and just respect out of your ability and respect out of the fact that you could melt them. So they're just like Alma, and they come up, give you a hug, and then scurry on off.
It'd be like
So
meeting
you have
Bruce Lee. Like,
outshined
please don't hurt
the
me.
rest of the party. completely.
I don't think that's true. No.
with your holy radiance.
Well,
Is there anything
if
else
I
you'd like
can
to
help,
find
I would
in
like to
those 2
help.
months?
So that's all I'll say.
And Jenya, you see Jenya quite a bit during those 2 months, and she gets a kick out of it. She thinks it's hilarious that this is, because they know you. She knows you. She knows Bayori, and Bayori's not really a well-known deity in Cauldron or really anywhere. He's kind of she's kind of a secondary, like a minor deity, but not that minor, because giving you the power of wrath.
Great.
She's laughing at you, Alma. Make her
Love
stop.
to hear that.
You hear it, don't you, Alma?
Time for level in Warlock.
So the 2 months
You don't even
pass.
you don't even need to change patron. You can just
The
be
power
Bay-
of finishing
Bayori's
every
Warlock.
spell. That's right. So the 2 months pass. You've gathered information. You have officially changed your subtype, archetype, what do we call it?
Subclass?
Subclass, to Eldritch Knight.
Yay.
Hey, senpai. Nothing else. Then one afternoon, you guys, you live down in the murder basement, but I'm imagining, it's easier just to come up in town to get things done and stay in town for a couple of days. You have a free place to stay up in the Drunken Morkoth. So one afternoon, when you meet up to have lunch or dinner or drinks at the Morkoth, the three of you are sitting around, and Nalini's bouncing around doing her butterfly on the wind kind of delivery of drinks and food to everyone. Shinsen comes in. Shinsen, if you don't remember, was the Drow Druid that you discovered that was down with the body of Sarkum down in the Lucky Monkey, and she came back to town with you guys. And she, at one point, you went to talk to the Striders, and they were kind of grooming her to be the contact, and she was just really nervous about it, and like she was just awkward, like not knowing what to do with her hands, more or less. But one afternoon she comes in while you're having lunch, and she walks up to the table and asks if she can sit down and join you guys for lunch. And you haven't seen her. I mean, if you've seen her around town, it's maybe been once or twice in the last 3 or 4 months. And by this time, it's been a little over 2 months since you brought Zenith back from the evil temple of Balmahaten. Balhamanton, whatever. The temple of Bloop de Bloop.
Bel Mahatun.
Balhamotten?
And she's looking around awkwardly.
What? Sorry, what did she say?
Can I sit?
Please join us.
Like
Sure.
standing there waiting.
Pull up a taco.
Full of a taco.
She
Oh, no.
goes, thank you. She sits down. How's everybody been doing?
Learning a lot.
Just
Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. So they've. Hey, Tarathiel, can you do that thing that you do, so we can? And she's like pointing at her head, talking her heads. Says something.
He
we can do real quick.
leans forward and puts a hand into the table so that everybody can.
She grabs. She
Join
puts
in.
her hand on yours.
Go team, go!
Yay!
I was waiting for the careless whisper.
Oh,
You're in charge of the music.
I don't have that one. Due to copyright infringement. That didn't roll a die at all. Or maybe it did. Yeah, it did. That's
5 hours.
5 hours. 5 hours of contact with everybody. Because
4 of
now
you.
I can bring in 4 people and me. So
Okay.
5 total.
So she, once it connects, she goes, "Oh wow, this is just like they do it," and she's thinking all this. So you guys have, you've the four of you guys, or the three of you now, have been doing this for a long time, right? So you've gotten to the point to where it's just sort of second nature to be thinking one thing and doing something else and be casual about it. She's like this. And she's like, you guys are taking a drink, and just looking around. She's just leaning forward, like staring directly at whoever she's talking to at the time. Like, and you can tell she's still trying to wrap her head around this whole clandestine life she's become a part of. And she's thinking, cool, this is how they do it. They do a thing just like this. Mirthan.
They who?
And she looks over. I don't know how to whisper to you. Can I whisper like this? And I was reading the thing. Actually, you're a router. Like, she's talking to you, and you're talking to them.
Yes.
So
She's only talking to me. Yep.
yeah. So she doesn't hear what they say. So it's a weird intermediary between the two of them. So literally the whole time she's just sitting there staring at you, talking.
Just
And she said,
just relax. You're gonna blow a blood vessel or something.
okay, she sits back. Real chalantly.
Chalantly.
Yes,
Chalant. So chalant.
very chalantly. So they wanted me, the Striders, they wanted me to come contact you, because they've been here. Did they tell you why they're here? Well, they've been here for longer than you guys have, because they've been investigating this group of people, and they feel like they've got enough information to actually say, yeah, they're here, their presence, and it's something that needs. Do I need to slow down? It's just like translating. I tell you something in English, and you translate it to them. I don't know how this works. They just talk to me. It's all a big jumbled mess. They told me to get on with it. So
It's fine now. I get it from facial expressions.
okay, so she becomes a little more expressive when she's talking. So can you hear me right now? Mirthan, have you met Mirthan? Well, he's like the leader. He's the leader of this group. He's with Farland and Ferio. But you told me I could use their name. Okay, well, you haven't met Mirthan, apparently. He's kind of the leader of this group, and he's the one that's been organizing, and he uses kind of this telepathic thing that you do, right? So he wanted me to come to you and kind of let you know that there is a group there's an organization. There's a group of okay. It's like a cult. It's like a cult. And there's this cult that is they call themselves the Cage Rights, right? And these people are they basically worship the plane of Carcerai. It's real strange. Like, no specific being, but they worship the plane itself, because it's like this powerful imprisoning plane of kind of evil, and it's real nasty. And okay, fine. So anyway, the Cage Rights are here. They're somewhere in Cauldron, and what they're doing is they're collecting people who have this special mark on their face. And yeah, okay. So they have the mark on their face, and they gather them up. We're not sure what or why, but they are here, and we're absolutely sure that Xenoth was one of those that they call him. What do they call him? And she's listening to somebody talk as Matt looks up his notes real quick. They call him
She's in two second conversations at once, isn't she?
Yes. They call him the Shackleborn.
Yep.
Okay.
That's confusing.
Right. It was like having somebody, two telephones, really. Like, shut up, I'm tired. They call him the Shackleborn, and not really sure what that is referring to, but we know that they are needed in order to perform some sort of dark, evil ritual. They've been working on this for 20, 30, 40 years. Not really sure how far along they are, but they've been looking for these people who are known as Shackleborn. They're born with this mark on their face. It's hard to see. You've got to cast detect spells. You can't detect magic. But we think that Zenith was the last one they were looking for, so they have all of them.
And we just brought him back, is what you're telling us.
Yes. Tell him yes.
We brought him back to them.
Yes. Tell him yes.
She says yes. I'm not going to be the magical repeater for everything.
Okay. Okay.
Why not?
She says, why not?
Look, I have one job on this ship. It's a stupid job, but I'm going to do it. Didn't we? That's from Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest.
Her job is the computer repeater. The computer will only respond to and talk to her. It's all throughout the thing now. They have to tell her to tell the computer to do things.
I have one job.
One job on this ship. It's a stupid job, but I'm gonna do it.
So the reason... go ahead. Yeah.
We also... Well, I was thinking cage rights. We've seen evidence of cages being manufactured in the meta basement before we arrived, right? That was a thing that we saw, so that name kind of maybe is related to that. Worshipping a plane is weird. It's like worshipping Sasserine because you like tacos.
Well, I think it's what power the plane can provide. I don't know. I'm not really sure if I'm using the right. Yeah, well, they said right. They said they did a good job. Thank you. So anyway, the reason they wanted me to tell you, I'm getting to it. The reason they wanted me to tell you was there has been a notice put up. The merchants of Cauldron are getting a little miffed by the taxes, and they are having a town meeting, but they're having it out front of town hall. All the merchants of Cauldron are coming forth to, complain about the taxes, to talk to the Lord Mayor and see if they can come to some sort of accord. And apparently Mirthan thinks this might be like a way, not really a cover-up, like it's not being started by the Shackleborn, but they think they might take advantage of the chaos that may ensue. All right? Yep. Yeah.
The chaos that may ensue from a town meeting?
Well, it's 700 merchants who are upset about the taxes that are driving them out of business. So,
have you ever been to a town meeting, Faizan? They're wild.
No, this is the first town that I've spent much time in.
We should definitely go.
What do you want us to do?
Just be there, keep an eye on things. If something goes weird, like, a giant beetle crawling out of the ground, or what may happen when you have a large... There's at least 700 merchants in Cauldron. There's going to be a ton of people out front of this tiny little Obsidian Avenue. The thing is, it's also right next to the City Watch, the City Guard. So, I don't know about you guys, but I'm more than a little concerned about all these mercenary half-orcs that have been purchased by the City Guard. Not purchased, I don't mean that, hired, but not like guardsmen. They're being paid flat sums. They're not saying, they're not being hired to be guardsmen for the rest of their life. They're being paid for 3 months.
Starting how many months ago?
Starting just recently. Now that they've all 700 of them are now in town, they're all in the barracks, they're all being holed up in the jail cells down below. They're kicking out minor offenders just to make room for these half-orcs to have a place to live because there's nowhere for them to live in town. So it's a concern. And also, yeah, never mind.
We can't fight off 700 orcs if it comes to that.
Well, I don't think it's going to come to that. Well, I don't know what's going to happen, but literally just want you to be there in case, just in case.
Okay.
I don't know. Just seems
I mean,
like a
you know,
really
maybe
good opportunity.
Maybe with a tea break. But
Well, there's there are flyers that just started being passed out. It's going to happen in 3 days. And she
subtle.
hands you a notice. It says, "Citizens of Cauldron, let your voice be heard. Come one, come all to the city hall this evening." It's got a date. Those in power must turn that we do not. I'm sorry. Those in power must learn that we do not welcome their indulgences. It's hard to read this and think it, and then think it to you. It's strange.
You
Their
could
vices
just
shall
hand
be-
us the flyer.
We can all read.
Okay.
I can
She hands it to you.
even read it now.
Yeah.
So Matt, what does
Even
it say?
Fezan.
Their vices shall be borne by our pockets no more. The tax collectors are the lapdogs of their greed. Let not their shadows besmirch our stoops. Speak your will, voice your pains. Help us return Cauldron to her children. And it's just a little flyer. It's not very high quality. It looks like they didn't want to spend a whole lot of money producing it. But I'll show you a little picture of it. I guess I can do that. Hang on. I'll put it. That's loud.
Just
The
just
good
ham-
thing
hammer
it's
it to the
closed.
wall there. Ka-dow!
Not sure if that'll come up or not. Blurry.
Yes, blurry.
Yeah. But that's the gist of it, except it's not blurry.
Right. Good.
Bearzone's like,
Now I understand.
I had no idea Rude Knights or Eldritch Knights couldn't see.
I've been reading too many books. My eyes are hurting.
So really not really asking you, because it's going to be, I mean, if she points out the door, it's like 3 blocks from here in a couple of days. So Mike's got his glasses on. Just not really asking you to do anything. Just be there. I mean, if you had planned on being there, would you mind? Mirthan says, "Oh, you do want me to tell him?" Okay. And they're also talking about a name, which Matt, I don't remember if you brought it up with anybody, but and this is Shinson again. The Blue Duke, does that ring a bell?
Yes.
Sure does.
All right, so
He was the free agent that was responsible for bringing the orcs into the city in the first place.
all right. Well, his name has come up, and apparently he's coming to Cauldron. I don't know. That's pretty much it, right? Yeah. I don't know what that means. There's no more information, but that name was associated with Zodin, right? Yeah, Zodin. And Zodin said that the Blue Duke... And Zodin's left town, by the way. Like, once he got all those half-orcs in, he bugged out.
He was the dwarf, right? The one that we didn't
Yeah.
catch. Because we caught 2 of them, had a chat with them, hired both of them eventually, and one of them got killed by the last laugh.
Correct. And Alma met Zodin down in the murder sub-basement and talked to them, got some information, and, and he was very...
Under the boathouse.
Yeah. He was very polite due to terror. But yeah, and that's Shinson saying, Felian's been keeping an eye out on them from the outside. Now that we knew where the entrance was, he's been staying out, ranging around, keeping an eye on them. And the last of the half-orcs that were due to be got brought in maybe 2 weeks ago. And once they were in, then once they were dressed, and once they were delivered, Zodin left town. He went by the East Gate, which kind of makes me feel like he went to Sasserine. that it? Yeah. That's it, guys.
So you're telling us that some mysterious Blue Duke is going to be here for the town meeting or beyond?
Don't really have a specific time frame. It wasn't like Blue Duke will be here in several days. It was just he's got something to do with this, and now because apparently he's the one that kind of, like you just said, he set up the whole thing, got the half orcs. He was like the person that the middleman, the
Coordinator?
coordinator, what have you. Now that the job's done, he's actually coming in person to Cauldron. Maybe to get paid. I don't know. But we heard through some other channels that name is being heard more and more, which means it's getting more local to our area. It's under our radar.
And you have no further knowledge of who this person is?
No, we just have a name. We don't even know what the guy looks like. We say guy because it's not Duchess.
Presumably he's blue.
I guess so.
Either that or incredibly sad.
Or a Smurf.
Oh.
Oh.
You think it's more like a jazz blues dude?
Oh.
So you're saying he
So,
likes
I'll be
things
there.
in a minor
What's
key.
good to drink around here? Relax.
Smurf.
Did she say that out loud?
Yeah.
Or to
Mulaney,
Tarathiel in his head?
No, she said that loud. Okay, I'll relax.
Farazan slides his very large tankard over to her.
All right. And Ophelio says hello.
Who's Othelio?
Who?
you can return that hello.
Okay. He says hello back. I don't have to say it out loud. Okay, it's fine. Whatever.
Okay.
It's like a conversation with my
I see
parents.
this
This
has
is
been
fun.
very stressful for you, and you're doing very well.
Thank you. Oh. I like you too.
Do you just want to hang out and have a drink?
Can I? Oh, that'd be great. I'm actually kind of hungry. Yep. And she does. At this point, she, whoever was been talking, well, you know who's been talking to her, but they're no longer jabbering in her ear anymore. She's like, I swear, I say one thing,
little-
don't shut up until I say it out loud.
The little on-air light above her head just turns off.
It turns off.
the Discord. Boo-doop.
Doop. Fario has left the chat.
Good.
Well, Farius, he's the chatty one. Felian, he doesn't talk much, which is nice, especially when they're
No.
all in your head. Mirthan lets everybody else do the talking.
And those
And
those
she's-
two names,
points
I can't
down.
remember those two names. Farion and who?
Farion.
Fario and Felion are striders of Felan that Tarathiel interacted with a couple of times.
Okay.
Once, I think when we first came out of the what was it called? The Malachite
Malachite
Fortress.
Fortress. Uh-huh.
And
they
then
first
once
approached.
before we headed down to fight Drakthar, I'm pretty sure.
Also, before you went
Because
down
we had
to
a
fight the
whole.
Lich.
That was it. The Lich. We had a whole montage of like, we're all gonna die. Let's go and do prep. And
Yeah,
so
it was
he
like
went
the
and
18
got
pulling duct tape.
stuff
Everybody's
from
going
them.
and buying scrolls and magic items and stuff like that. Yeah.
Do do do.
Yeah. Da-da-da. So, you know what? I completely forgot, Jamie. You brought it up and you said you wanted to do it. I want to take a step back and let's just do that quickly. You mentioned saying that you would like to do a recap, which is a good time for a recap because, I mean, if it's not obvious, we're between books right now.
Yep.
So,
Can
you
I
want to hit a recap?
if I could ask one quick question before I forget again for the 17th time? would it be
Sorry.
possible? What the heck? I think I just got an ad on the stream that I'm running. What?
Okay. What's your question before you forget?
Can I find or convert my armor to adamantine?
Not with the material, money, or time that you have available.
Okay, and as part of the 2 months, couldn't have like farmed that out to the black. Yeah. No. Okay.
Have you looked it up? The cost?
Yeah, it's a. I don't know what the cost is. It doesn't say. They all say it says uncommon.
Right. Adamantine.
Uh-huh.
So, adamantine reduces the damage you take by all things by what, 3 points, something like that.
Okay, maybe not adamantine. What's the other?
Mithril.
I don't know. The one that allows him to be quiet. It doesn't impose disadvantage on stealth. There's a metal armor that will allow that.
Okay, well, let's do that off air, so I'll have time to look it up and not have to look it up online, or while we're on air doing this.
Okay.
I'll look into it.
Okay. It's
It's
mithril.
not adamantine though.
Yeah, it's mithril. Sorry.
Okay. Mithril still going to be tough because it's still a rare metal. That's what almost chain shirt's made out of. The elven chain, it's made out of mithril.
Yeah.
Which makes it lighter and yada yada. So we'll look into it.
Okay.
And then if we need to, I'll just retro it saying during those 2 months that you're not actively creating it. That would be enough time. However, you're not like replacing your... Okay, now that I think about it, you can't replace the metal of your armor with a new metal and call it the same armor. I mean, you're just making new armor. So it wouldn't be magical anymore.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, this would be that ship.
Aw.
You know, you replace all the planks of the ship. Is it still the same ship? You can't really replace the armor of your armor metal and still call it the same armor. You're just making a new suit.
The ship of Theseus?
Theseus.
Perseus?
Mhm.
One of the S's?
No, Theseus.
Theseus.
Yeah, it's Theseus.
It's Theseus.
Yeah. Right? So, does that make sense? Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to replace this magical breastplate with a non-magical breastplate of special metal, and now it's magical. I don't think that's going to work. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I would-
Find somebody to make it magical.
yeah. That's. I mean. Yeah. Well,
That's a possibility.
All right. That we can talk about it.
Yeah. So, until
I
further
mean, you're a
notice,
friendly
you're still...
Smith wizard that wasn't doing anything. Right?
Hiffle.
He is very, very busy now. I mean, you can't even find him. Wherever Boxy is, it was down in a hole.
He went down in the basement of Blue Crater Academy and then
Blue Crater-
disappeared.
Blue Crater's order basement.
Yeah. So the crazy stuff we've met in the bathhouse. Imagine what you find in the basement of an arcane, school of wizardry.
It's Boathouse.
Right. The boathouse.
It's a boathouse.
All right, so let's just do a real quick recap.
We need jazz for recap, Mike.
Smooth jazz coming at you live Monday night.
Oh, yeah. Hang on.
I can't believe you didn't do that instinctively.
Prepare for smooth jazz. Oh, yeah.
Oops.
Coming
I
at
just
your
rolled
ear
a die,
holes
sorry.
all night long. Oh no! What'd you roll?
I accidentally rolled a
Performance,
performance check.
We're glad you're not doing the jazz.
I got him.
This jazz stinks.
I'm trying to scat and it's not working. I'm like beat up, boop doop. It's not good.
That's pretty good.
Welcome back to WCLDN. Cauldron.
It's called Red.
Old jazz all the time.
We are hot tonight. Okay, so recap. We're 80-ish episodes in. We just finished another book. To let you guys know, we're almost halfway through all the books.
Gasp.
That doesn't seem as
We're almost
really
halfway
as-
through all the levels.
Yes, I say we're almost halfway through.
What a
does that mean,
coincidence.
Bird? I mean,
Are we 9/20ths away through the adventure? Is that what you're saying?
so this book has the remake of this campaign, the Shackled City, was redone into book format out of the Dungeon Magazine, and they added a chapter, and it was I forgot who wrote it. It was like Mike Marles or somebody wrote it because it needed something was missing to connect two of the stories, so they threw in this second chapter. Originally, there were only 11 chapters. Now there are 12. There's 12 books to this, and you just finished number 4. So I guess you are a third of the way. That's almost half, right? I don't know.
It depends on if you're eating a burger
Okay.
or, you know.
Or being burnt alive.
Yeah.
Right.
So the story
Sorry.
started with you guys coming to Cauldron. And so I want you guys to chime in. I don't want to sit here and recap it myself because I'm going to forget a lot. And also, it's kind of interesting to hear a recap from the player's point of view to make sure that the information that I wanted to relate is getting related. Because there's usually a massive disconnect between what a DM wants you to know and what the players actually pick up on. So, go.
Tarathiel is a rogue. That's my first line in my notes.
So, it all started when we were. Well, actually, how far back in the recap do we want to go? I guess from character introduction, Tarathiel was wandering around the city of Cauldron, grifting people and making money. When he got picked up off the street by the Last Laugh, they took him to I intimidate him, recruit him, some combination of those things. They cut off his little finger, and he escaped. He killed at least one of the people that were chasing him through the city, and he kind of disappeared into the shadows. That's Tarathiel's intro.
Khaldun escaped from the depths of the Underdark, a different area, and he bumped into a traveling merchant who brought him to Cauldron to have somewhere to go. That's pretty much all we know about his past, except, he's mentioned that he's from Tunarath, which is a city in the astral plane where the Githyanki live and all this stuff, but he doesn't really say a lot about it. That's right, Senpai. They were warning Tarathiel that he was doing things on their turf without their permission, without giving them their part, their piece. And then Farazan came into town. It's kind of like on
a mission from God.
Yeah, but like a soul searching kind of thing, trying to figure something out.
That's what I was doing.
It's funny because we ended up going to see the penguin.
That's right, Alma. You were doing a soul search.
am.
Farazan, you were sent by your people to find something.
Yeah.
They didn't know what that something was.
Yeah, it was kind of a
Wisdom.
Yeah, it's kind of
Wisdom.
a there was an impending threat, and he was sent to learn, what he could, in terms of kind of worldly wisdom, and then come back to help his people. And he was sent to, I don't remember if he was sent to or if he came upon the monastery at the foot of the mountain.
Stumbled upon.
Yeah, tripped and fell into.
Sure.
And so he trained there. He got his stick handed to him for several rounds, even from some of the newbies, before he finally got frustrated and pulled a small tree out of the ground and used that to whack the dude. And then lesson was learned.
That became your.
I believe the
weapon of
phrase
choice.
"launch" might have been used. You just pointed out into the outfield.
But then from there he trained to be
A fighter.
an actual fighter, and then
You got
ended up in
Cauldron.
Cauldron.
So what was the first thing that started the adventure? Right. So there was this one evening. It was
The
raining.
inciting incident.
Yes, the incident that started this whole domino effect was hearing
We rescued
Rufus yelling for help, and he was being pummeled. He was being beaten by some Last Laugh jokesters, and that fight lasted one round because he cast sleep. Yay, that's fun. But this started you down this trail, right? and you met Jinya, and she became like your best friend in Cauldron. Like, she's the only one that you can truly say, except for maybe Gretchen at the orphanage, who hasn't betrayed you somehow, or you feel like you can trust, beyond all things, because this whole city is dirty. I mean, everything about the city is dirty. It's corrupt. I mean,
It's muddy.
You've got the Lord Mayor who has the organized crime syndicate in his pocket, and they are constant. I mean, they kill people on a regular basis and kidnap and blah 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 blah. So they're helping him run the city under the city.
Tell them I hate them.
They hate them
I'm pretty sure you have told them many times.
many times.
Thank you.
So the beginning of the story, a kid's missing. They send you to the orphanage. You get information to find out that Keegan Gelb, who's a locksmith, has
4 kids are missing.
4. Right. Discover that some creatures are kidnapping people and going down through Keegan's house, and you discover Jadaroon, this ancient gnomish pain in the ass of a fortress under Cauldron. The first of many murder bases that you come across.
This was pre
Looks like,
Matt's adjusting the DC to 5th edition.
Yeah, I was still using 3.5 DCs on these locks, and
Oh, were you?
it weren't easy on you at all. But the whole
It also it makes for great radio. Like I roll to check for traps. You don't detect traps. I unlock the door.
there's a trap.
Okay, next room. Oh, look, another door. I roll to check for traps. You don't detect any traps. Okay.
Yeah, and also I realizing how absolutely difficult and horrible and heinous it was to roll these high rolls, I incorporated a lot of stuff. Like, you learn these locks and you learn the trap. So
Yeah.
the DC went down and you guys started having an advantage. And like, once you figured out the lock, it was just nothing to, blah blah blah. I was trying to make it as easy as possible because
Mhm.
some of these doors had a DC 25 to unlock. And I'm like, how is that? Why? So anyway. Got through Jadaroon, didn't explore the whole thing, went on down to the sub basement to the Malachite Fortress, which is where you met the horrible half dwarf, half troll slave guy.
Well, and you left out the most important thing we found in Jadaroon.
Foxy.
Foxy.
So there was a
I have
mimic,
fond memories of the poo room.
the poo room.
Oh yeah.
You guys met Boxy, and he was quite delighted by the name of Keegan's pet rat.
Starbrow.
Every time he heard that name, he would just start laughing and cackling. So you
Starbrow.
had Boxy, and Boxy was a friendly mimic. He
In theory, Starbrow's still with us, right? We did rescue Starbrow, and we
we
did
did.
bring him back to Gelf, and
did.
then we have taken Gelf on missions. So in theory, Starbrow is a part of the party at this point.
Keegan Starbrow has been the whole Jonesy thing in Aliens. Like, you're staying here. You're not going back out there with me.
I don't get that
You're staying here where it's
reference.
safe. And then I'll see you when you get back. And he ate a lot of copper. So he ate so much. 2 or 3 of the creatures that were down in Jadaroon were so big, so full of metal and copper that he ate them whole, and then he butted off his
Twerp.
son,
Brother. I think he called him a brother.
brother
Yeah.
Twerp. And so the new reigning superior race of Cauldron had begun. So you guys scooted on. I'm going to try to skip over, skim it a little faster because we'll be here. Well, I think we're going to be here the rest of the show, to be honest.
Yep.
Got down to Malachite Fortress. You found this slave ring at the very bottom in Malachite Fortress, which was this old dwarven citadel that was designed to protect Cauldron and Jadaroon from the Underdark. What may have come up, the possible dirty creatures from the depths of bad places. And you snuck around. You finally got to the slaver, and you saw the young. You saw, well, it wasn't just one kid that was kidnapped. There were 4,
Mm-hmm.
and you found them, and you fought, and you took out the slave. I'm trying to remember his name, and I can't for the life of me. Anyway, while you're fighting there, the fight stops
I'm trying to find it.
when a beholder shows up, which is what everybody at level 2 wants to see.
Yep.
Is a beholder.
Mhm, mhm.
And he talks to the
Kaz-
slaver and
Kazmojen.
says, you know,
Kazmojen.
thank you.
Kazmojen.
Kazmojen.
The half dwarf, half troll.
Half dwarf, half troll, slave owner, slavering owner.
Yeah.
And the beholder kind of blesses him out and like fries a couple of goblins and throws Tarathiel against the ceiling. I think I remember that. He uses telekinesis and just, like slammed you.
Mhm.
And then
I tried to buy a kid from him because
Yeah.
like, that seemed like the simplest way out of this
Well,
problem.
I mean, you were in a slave ring. And he bugged out with Tarim.
Yeah.
And you guys took the rest of the kids out. And then you alerted the guards, and the guards took over. They took over Shadowroom, they took over Malachite Fortress. The city basically annexed it and kicked Keegan out, and exiled him from town for being complicit with the kidnapping and selling of children, which he, come to find out, literally had nothing to do with. And later, a day or so later, Tarim shows up by this unknown dark-veiled woman who comes with the chicken arms. Was that the...
Yeah,
No, it
we
was Bulldozer, yeah.
we suspect this is a beholder in a dress.
Yeah.
But we never saw her.
Yeah,
Right.
we never saw her, and it was a very vague kind of description of, a woman in a dress, right, with a veil, and that, yeah.
So that was the end of that story. Tarim's returned, the orphans are safe, everything's happy, and all is right in the world again. Except
Is that book 1?
that was book 1.
Yeah, that's like the first
I'm gonna-
25 episodes or something.
Yeah,
Something like that.
23 episodes.
Yeah, 23. Okay.
I have it labeled in my notes as someone think of the children.
The name of book 1 is called Life's Bazaar.
I don't want to know the real names. I've just basically like as we've gone through, I've picked out when the books are, and I've named them, but they're all
Okay.
terrible names.
So the second chapter of the story is when this is about the time the rain starts,
Mhm.
right? So it's getting towards summer's ending. It's starting to get towards fall. The monsoon season's hit. And this is foreshadowing for the flooding of Cauldron's Lake. The first one, actually, it's Bazaar, like a Middle Eastern bazaar where you sell things. And this is where you start seeing there are goblins attacking the town and leaving graffiti and causing just general muck and mayhem. And you're asked to go down and figure things out, and you meet
Oric Stonehaven.
Oric, who has been charmed and has been allowing these goblins in and out. You come to find out, and
I don't know nothing about no goblins.
don't know nothing about no goblins. And that's when the murder marathon of goblins began. Because they
what?
were streaming out.
It was
So,
self-defense.
I remember that line because that's about where I am in my listen through. So we couldn't. We were told to go find Oric Stonehaven, right?
We were by
someone-
the last laugh, by Jill from the last laugh.
Yeah. Okay.
There was
And-
recurring underboss. She showed up in the very first session. She was with the thugs that were beating up Rufus, but she got away.
She was on the ceiling, like observing. Almost like it was their initiation, maybe, or something like that.
On the roof. On the ceiling is a different connotation.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're on the ceiling. She was on the roof. So, yeah, you walk into this place. You wait for this time that the goblins always came out, and they did. All 30 of them. And you pretended you started to just kill everything you saw.
But Farazan didn't kill a single one of them.
And that's also, well, Khaldun burnt everything.
Yes.
Like, his little fiery dudes running around bouncing. And I'm pretty sure that Tarathiel had his fair share of goblin deaths.
Oh, for sure. I think he still has nightmares about that night.
And I left the X'd over dead goblin bodies on that map for the longest time before I cleaned it up. So got in here, took out the goblins, figured out that Auric was being charmed or something like that, and go down into this sub basement. And there was a temple to a dwarven god down there. So you're curious about that. Kind of jumping ahead of the story, but Auric didn't quite make it through this storyline.
You did not.
He was murdered later. But what you discovered was that you'd gone down into the warren of a vampire. Had taken
A young vampire.
Yes, a newly
Drakthar.
created vampire, Drakthar. What was he? He was a hobgoblin. Hobgoblin, Drakthar, the vampire. And you made your way through there, and there's a lot more goblins and warrens. And then that's where you met Kolander and Kelef, two mercenaries who had been hired. Come to find out, also Drakthar had been hired as one of them, but he sat down in the wrong chair.
Oh, the chair.
The chair.
Yes. The one that gave Farazan his second achievement.
Yep. Yeah, you got your first achievement when you were fighting the chain golem, and you just like kept running headlong. Like you ran. It wasn't just that. Like every single room, you ran right in the middle of the bad guys, and you just got pummeled, and you got knocked out. And then you got. Actually, I think it was one combat. You got knocked out and brought back up 3 times in the same combat, and that's when I gave you your first achievement, Bonehead, which gave you a permanent +1 hit point.
Yeah.
Because your head's like hard as a bone. So go through. You fight Actually, you fought Drakthar like right out of the gate, and you ran him off. Like he turned to gas, flitted away, and later you found the cause, the root of the evil of Drakthar's way, which was this unholy, weird, undead amalgamation of pulled taut faces of a chair. So the whole chair is made of nothing but faces that have been pulled tight and sewn into a full chair. And it was a big chair. And it was
the Necronomicon of lazy boys.
Yeah, it was ugly. And I think didn't it somebody got grappled into sitting down and it just started biting you all over? Was that Farazan?
Yes.
Yeah, so it grappled you
It
down.
was Farazan.
It sat you down in the chair, and then every one of those faces just started biting on you and draining your blood. And you killed it.
And that was the I think that was the origination of the first the fan art from Cow Art, I think.
Yes, the very first fan art was of the chair.
Yeah.
Of the face chair, yes.
So killed Drakthar, Kelev and Kolander, you met them. Corlander, you met them. They told you kind of what was going on, and they had barricaded themselves into that room because Drakthar was going crazy, and then also heard you guys just like a wave of death coming down Drakthar's way. So they were not having any part of it. And then you stopped.
I think
You killed Drakthar, you killed the chair, and you found those two. You brought them out, and you talked to them, and basically hired them. But you left the rest of Drakthar's way alone. You kind of had come to do what you meant to do, but you didn't see the rest of what was happening down further into the tunnels till actually much later. That was book 2. Killing Drakthar, clearing out those tunnels, and finding out about this area being used as a smuggler, underground railroad, for lack of a better term, to get these half-orcs in that are being hired into the guard. By this time had passed, and the rain is really coming down. So much so that the lake in the center of Cauldron is flooding. Worse than it's done in 50 years. And they used to have the schematics for this rod, and it's been long lost because they haven't needed it so long. It's just, they don't know where it is. So Sarkum, seeing the rain start so many months ago, realizing it was going to be one of those kind of bad seasons, took off and was looking for the schematic to create this rod again. And he found it. But apparently somebody else realized he found it, and they waylaid him inside the Lucky Monkey. And he sent out a message to Jinya and said, "Help, help, I'm being oppressed," and wanted to be rescued. So you guys saddle up at her request, head down there, and literally sneak in the back door and go straight to the boss. I mean, right to the boss. You didn't fight or see anybody else. You went straight to the boss.
Who was called Tongue Eater.
Tongue Eater.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
he ate tongues. So you fought the boss, and he was a raging barbarian, were baboon.
That's right. We're a baboon.
Yeah, and Tarathiel
Yeah, baboon.
had where is it? There is it. Had kind of pissed him off. Like he'd done something, you messed with him, you'd throw him coins, you'd open the door and shut the door, and finally he's just like, "Rah, rage mad," and he just came after you. He was very single-minded, and was charging down that hall, and everybody, Farazan, I mean everybody's just throwing everything they got at this guy, because he's raging, he's taking no damage, he's moving like a dang horse, and he's got his eyes just set on Tarathiel. He's going to kill Tarathiel. And I remember, like, literally, it was his turn next, and he's leaping to attack you, and he dies in midair and just skids right at Tarathiel's feet. It was a neat combat, and he drank all of your loot. He drank a potion every round, healing up, just blah blah, like he's charging, trying to get to you, and being angry about it.
What a jerk.
Yeah.
He was a jerk.
Punk. I have a note, or I have a line in my notes. It says "loot in kitchen:" and then the next line there's a dash and it's empty.
Interesting. So, what you, I just remember. I remember reading this. I forgot to mention that there was the head of Sarkum on the wall after you guys had gone down to the basement to find him. And I kind of retro fit that one, like, oh, wasn't there a head on the wall up there missing a tongue? Anyway, this is where you met Shinsen, who you just talked to in the bar just earlier in this episode. She was down there. She's a follower of Farlon, and she's a druid that takes care of the grove in the area around the Lucky Monkey as part of her worship of Farlon. And she tells you the story that Sarkum was here, and then they got ambushed and driven down here, and finally they beat him down, and that this woman with short red hair and like full plate spiky black armor took the schematic and bugged out.
Yes.
Enter artist Shemwick.
Triel. We discovered later.
Her name is Triel. Enter artist Shemwick, who is the information broker of Cauldron, and he worked with the Last Laugh, but not for the Last Laugh, if that makes
Not for
sense.
them.
Yeah. But he works with everybody, right? If you've got information, he'll buy it and he'll sell it, whatever. He just, he's an entrepreneur. He sells you the information where to find Triel. He's known about this strange sub basement under Cauldron, outside of Cauldron, kind of, for years. And he says, well, last I heard, she was holed up here, and she's crazy. So you guys go down into this Kopru ruins. Oh, yeah, this is book 3, by the way, the flood season. Go into the Kopru ruins, and it's just this weird mix of all kinds of creatures. I remember reading this adventure thinking, why is all this crap here? So you've got a Kopru who is in one corner. You've got this horrible... Still there.
As far as we know.
As far as you know, yeah. You've got this horrible abyssal stag along the bloody beach. That was kind of horrifying because it had this aura of slow about it. You killed that, and you went
out of there.
went into the Citadel, and you went south first, and you met this strange spider creature. It's known I forgot what it's called, but it's a normal creature for the Underdark. What wasn't normal though was that it was psychic. You know, everybody's like focused on the fact that it had like 10 human eyes and like 11 feet and spiny and just generally a nasty creature. But it had psychic abilities. It was like drawing people in, like Spider the Fly kind of thing. And you guys beat the hell out of it. And it basically said, "Why are you here? What do you
They
want?"
called a truce.
Yeah, it's like, "I'm about to die. What do you want? I don't want to die right here." And this creature had the schematics. What you found, what maybe it wasn't obvious. I tried to give a little bit of hints. The halfling wizard had entrusted this spider with the schematic for safekeeping because he didn't trust the other two.
That jerk. I remember busting into his room, and I think he summoned an air elemental or something.
He had an air elemental. He had
Wailed on that guy.
diagram. He had a pentagram-ish summoning circle in the center of his room, and I mean, you guys just beat him to death. Like 2 rounds dead. Like he didn't have a chance to do anything. Of course, you put a wizard in a 5x5 room, then you're gonna die.
Yep.
So you kept on exploring, and you found Triel, who is the leader of this whole group, and the religious group is called the Ebon
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 Triad.
Triad.
Ebon Triad, which is a combination of 3 dark gods with the idea of creating an overlord out of those 3 gods, and they're using this place as a base of operations. She had taken this schematic in order to sell it. She was trying to make money off of it. She was needing funds for the Ebon Triad. That's why she took it. And she was going to try to ransom it back to the city. But you guys had already taken it, and you... This is where Farazan used every ranged weapon he had on his body because he got trapped in this. So the doors were all like turnstiles, and the trap was this claw that was this razor infested claw that wrapped you up and held you in the turnstile door.
Mm-hmm.
And every move you made, it cut you and all this stuff and blah blah blah. And you were like throwing, chopping spears and axes, and I mean everything you had. Anyway, killed Triel, and that's where you met Sakuro and Ajar and Thistle and a bunch of the other henchmen that have been hired by Triel to keep guard. And they're like, "Don't go back in the back. It really sucks back there, and I think he's dead." And they were talking about the Lich. By this point, you'd actually really beaten this adventure.
I have in session 54, I have my notes consist of only a recap for the previous episode, and it just says, "The party continues to look for stolen wand plans, collecting a couple of new employees along the way. With their aid, the party bypasses a number of nasty traps and learns a rope trick or 2. Now they face a choice between hideous web kittens to the south and a sanity-challenged gnoll with living deficits to the north. Did I mention he's a wizard? An undead wizard? No one say lich."
Don't say the word.
Tarkalar.
Tarkalar. Right.
Takala, yep. Or
Tarkalar, the newly formed Lich. So, a little behind the screens, he was written in the adventure as a Hokuva, which really doesn't have a thing in 5e. So, I kind of came up with like the newly formed Lich, and there's some other things going on behind the scenes that caused him to become a Lich that's not really shown itself yet. So I'm not gonna go too much into that. So, you guys got the schematic, send it back to Jenya. Jenya creates a rod, cleans out the water, and you decide, hey, we've got a murder basement. Let's go clean it out and keep it for ourselves. So you get down and you kill a Lich. And you take over the murder basement for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about the time that a woman named Celeste, who you had met earlier during the Demon's Gar Ball, who's a friend of Vilantru, asks if you will go and find this guy this dwarf who's apparently been cursed, and they need him back to set things right with Dad. Okay, he's in the mountains. He's underground. He's in a temple of Bloop in Balmahaten. And in order to get there, you need to stop by and see Jared, and he'll give you directions further. So, you're like, okay, cool. And you go and you meet Jared, who is flat out nuts. He believes he's the king of Andoria, which is a non-existent country in a valley.
To be
And
to be fair, nobody is contesting his rulership of
That's
that
true.
kingdom.
that's true.
He is
Well,
the king.
that's not true. Come later to find out there is somebody that's contesting that it's their realm, not his, and that is Dorlot. No, I'm sorry, Gottrod. Gottrod, the son of Hookface. He apparently was contesting the fact that you're insane. So you meet Jared, crazy Jared. He puts you up for the night. He tells stories. He asks all about you. He calls you the giant funny jester. And just gives you the information you need, but he's also desperate for company and entertainment, and makes you stay the night with him in his magical illusion of a country inside of a magical illusion of a house, and all these different things. And he the next morning, as you're leaving, he's like, oh, by the way, there's Dragon coming. He always comes about this time of day to ask me if I'd seen yada yada, and then a dragon starts circling the valley. And you kill it.
Remember that time we tried to hide inside of a clay oven from a fire dragon?
That's
That was
true.
amazing.
I don't want to go too much into the details of the fight, but short of it is, I mean, you're listening to episode 84 right now. You know they won fight. So you kill it, you skin it, you gut it, you do terrible things to this body of this dead dragon, and you head down into the Underdark.
Waste not, want not, Matt.
Head down into the Underdark. You
Use
have
the
to
whole
fight
dragon.
a Pyro Hydra, who's set up.
To be fair, we tried to trick our way past it.
You did, and it's funny that you just asked for something made of mithril, because I'm pretty sure it was either you or Alma. One of the two of you had disadvantage on your sneak, and it was just it just woke up, And so you fought this 7-headed Pyro
Yeah.
Hydra, I believe.
Yeah, Pyrosepta Hydra.
Yeah. Get past it, go to the temple. Get into the temple, you see that it's a whole bunch of
Kuatoas.
Kuatoas, thank you. All I could think of was blah, 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 blah.
That's much less complicated than Kuatoa.
The World of Warcraft creatures.
That's-
Not frogbugs.
I
Anyway,
always think of the things from Diablo 1, and in the second world there's a there's a little thing with the spears that run at you. But
the little pygmies.
I don't remember what they were.
Yeah, they were funny. That was Diablo. Well, I'm thinking I'm thinking of Diablo 2. But anyway, you get to the temple. You go inside the temple, and when you step into the temple proper, where the actual gigantic statue of Bloop Bloop is there, you trigger a trap that summons this Irnes demon to protect the temple. And that fight was the most disappointing thing I've ever done in my life, because I don't think I rolled above a 7 the entire fight. I mean, she was taking 3 shots around, failing every saving throw. She was just.
She should have been a one-person TPK, and she just wasn't.
Yeah. I was actually, I remember telling you guys, leading up to this point, I was really worried about it, dreading it, because she's awful, really, really terrible. But
It's when you start a session and Matt says, "Look, I don't want to kill your characters, but have you all got backups?"
all I can say is the power of Biori was with you that day.
Mhm.
I must admit. Because didn't you again absolutely just curb stomp the crap out of her with one of your 5th level spells, or you did something? You blasted the shit out of her, like a ton of damage.
Amma doesn't start fights, but she finishes them.
Yeah, I don't start a fight, but I'll kill you.
Never on purpose.
Don't start nothing, won't be nothing.
So you fight her, and you finally find the guy you're looking for, who is Zenith Splinter Shield, who has gone absolutely out of his mind, and is making these predictions.
Problem solved.
And he doesn't go without a fight. And he and his little invisible buddy was a hell of a fight. I felt like that was a fun fight. That was pretty cool. But the way you beat him was you turned him into a turtle, wrapped him in a blanket, launched him to the top of a cave with about 70, 80 feet up with an owl, and dropped him.
Classic turtle in a blanket.
Yep.
Classic.
Yep. But where are we going to get an owl?
I perfectly executed turtle in a blanket.
That's right. So for the future, like we're looking for plans like turtle in a blanket. Man, we don't have an owl.
There's on the
So,
Eldritch Knight now. I just mentioning that.
You get I forgot about the Screaming Rock. You catch Zenith. You put him in a cage, and he has one of these like mind quakes where he just kills everything within like a half mile. Does a ton of damage.
Yeah.
And at that point, he just goes completely catatonic. He just follows you. Doesn't really fight you at all at this point. And as you're leaving, you discover Dorlot, the black dragon that Gottrod's been looking for, has apparently made this temple his home. And he comes out, and what he's done is he's left where he was and has taken over the main temple with the statue because he knew that you killed the Aranese devil. And so he's in there, and you discover him because he's out there. They're all, the rest of the Kuo-toa are bringing the treasure to pile up at his feet, and that's when Zenith triggers and blasts everybody, including the dragons, kills all of his Kuo-toans, and he just like goes into a rage. And Keegan puts up a magic illusion of a wall and says, "I'm getting out of here. I'm done with dragons." And you guys buggered out.
RUNOFT.
Yes. And you basically brought Zenith back to town, and that leads you up to today. I mean, that was we started June the 1st, 2021. So we're coming up on 2 years. So that's a 2 years and 20 minutes.
No. January
No?
January 4th, 2021 is when my first notes are from. That's my notes. Notes from session 1 is January 4th, 2021. We're over 2 years.
Oh, we're over 2 years. Where did I get June the 1st? Maybe it was the first podcast? No, I don't know. Whatever. Good. 2 years. So there's 2 years and 20 minutes right there. So quick recap.
Yes.
Anything y'all want to add to it that I forgot? Because we got about 10 minutes left. This is going to be a short podcast, that's for sure. Cutting 30 minutes out of the front.
Let's see. I think there was something where we did meet up with what's the very very well off gentleman's name? Volantru. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a nobleman of Cauldron.
Yeah, we've kind of gotten in his good graces a little bit, haven't we? Or it seems to have.
Yeah.
He defended us at the Demon Scar. He
He's-
was involved in this Zenith thing.
And he's put you up for free at the Drunken
Drunken
Morkoth,
Morkoth.
literally since like the second day you were here.
Yeah.
Because you saved the started out with the orphans. You saved the orphans, and he was very appreciative and didn't really know it was him at first, and then later found out that he was one of those like your silent benefactor. But yeah,
Yeah,
he's
pro tip for anybody moving to a new city is find some orphans that are in trouble and save them. And you just
Yep.
right in.
with that.
Easy.
And you guys have been in Cauldron over a year now, and he's been paying
Mhm.
for 4 rooms every night at the Drunken Morkoth for a year.
Yeah. I mean, they're not
Probably-
nice rooms.
He probably doesn't even notice.
No, I mean, not even costing him the interest on his interest, but yeah. So that's a quick rundown on the story short and dirty. Like, that's 160 hours down to 2 minutes or 20 minutes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Right.
that hit all the high points. So
Yeah, I didn't want to get too much detail of every episode. If you want that much detail, hey,
yeah.
check out the
yeah,
podcast, check out the YouTube, right? But basically the plot of each book. That's what I was trying to hit for each one.
Yeah. And I've got January 3rd of 21 is when I wrote down Tarathiel Rogue.
Your January 3rd would have been my January 4th because
Yes.
of the way time works. My first note is has anybody seen Batman?
Yeah, right.
Oh, and there's the bicycle story. You'll have to go back and listen to the bicycle story.
Yeah, there's no time to tell it now.
Yeah, there's no time.
Right.
Episode 100. I'm gonna have to actually
Maybe
tell
you
them
might get interrupted though.
bicycle story. Yeah, that's my plan at this point.
Excellent.
Guys, it is pushing 11 o'clock.
Hmm.
If there's nothing else, might as well go ahead and call it a night. We'll get started. Oh, it reminds
night.
me. I believe we're taking next week off, right? Rachel, isn't that right? You can't make it next week?
Yeah. That's right.
So
Cool.
we will pick this back up and we will get going heavy and fast and quick and loose and get going.
Oh my god.
We're some combination of those words.
Yeah.
What's going on?
We're
Pick your
changing
favorite
it.
adjective.
voice.
That's how we're gonna do it.
Yeah. Murderous, dangerous, and angrily.
Cromulent. We're gonna do it cromulently.
Yeah, cromulent.
Angrily is an adverb. Damn it.
Effervescent.
One
breaking the
thing.
rules.
Yeah, one thing we did leave out was that we decided, or at least I decided, that that when we were meeting Drakthar, Drakthar the vampire. Yeah, I think that we decided that a group of bats was called a manslaughter.
A manslaughter of bats. Yeah.
Manslaughter of bats.
I like it.
Which is
I don't
similar
think it
to a
is.
murder of crows, but less felony.
Yeah. I would think that bats would be a lot more dangerous than crows. All those diseases. Bats are nasty. I mean, they sleep with pigs and give us viruses.
Crows are very intelligent though, so
Why?
they could plan out your death. Hence the murder.
So yeah,
Premeditated.
It's
One,
more accidental.
you got one sitting, one flies by. It's an attempted murder.
Ah.
Good night, everybody.
Let's
On
move on that high note. Yeah, let's call it a night, guys. Thanks for showing up. Sorry we had some little bit of trouble at the beginning, but got to figure it out. If you listen to the podcast, just know that if you want to actually hear the first half hour of this particular episode, you can go check it out on YouTube. Otherwise, we'll cut it out because it's just kind of us fixing some problems.
Yeah, it definitely had its ups and downs.
Yep. So 2 weeks back here, 9 o'clock, and we will get started and see what's up in the town of Cauldron.
Yep. Same bat time, same
What's
bat
up?
channel.
Yay.
Night, guys.
Good night.
Night.